Greetings, everyone. This is Reverend Chris Oldham. It is October 10th, 2019. Welcome to this week's edition of the Chrysalis, weekly ascension online magazine, maybe you would say, or update or blog. Today's subject happens to be forgiveness. Releasing what no longer serves, releasing what binds us to density and darkness and keeps us from rising up, keeps us from freedom. This is something that is going on worldwide. Every week I speak about things that are coming up around the world and personally in my own and my clients' experience. And this week, forgiveness, letting go, this has been an overarching theme this week, and I am going to continue this discussion in just a few minutes, but I'm glad you joined us. Please hang out throughout this video, because at the end the Angel Stamera is coming in to do some work for us that will assist us in this process. So welcome, I'm glad you're here, and let's get started. All right, we will begin in just a minute as soon as everybody gets here, and I will see you shortly. Welcome everyone who is here now live for this live recording or for listening to it later on YouTube. I thank you for your presence here, and I welcome your participation with the angels today as we bring forth the messages that are coming up to be heard. And we're not talking again, I will say, this is not a news report. This is not an analysis of what's going on at ground level through mental means and buried in all of the stuff that's going on down there. If you're buried in the mental model and just dealing with information coming to you, most of which is either false or corrupted to the point where you couldn't tell whether it was true or not, you're being bombarded by this stuff and kept at the mental level, and there's a reason for that. We'll talk about that a little bit, but for the most part, what I do here is I help rise you up. Let's go up above that level of where the mind is being paralyzed by all of this stuff, up to a place where the divine forces that are working for us and that are us, our higher aspects, can see what's going on, can understand it from the place of the weaving of the divine tapestry of all that has to happen in order for everything that we have been working for in order to bring enlightenment, the great awakening, divine love into this world. And that's what's happening now. Love is blasting this world, and light. And every week it seems to take a different turn, where it's focused more on some things than on others, whatever is needing that light most at any given time. And for the past week, what I have experienced and observed, both in the world around me and with my clients' family and in my own personal goings on and efforts, is that there's a huge push for release releasing what doesn't serve us anymore, releasing the stuff that is holding us down and binding us to density and darkness. Forgiveness of others, forgiveness of ourselves. And we're going to talk here in a little while about how forgiveness is such a misunderstood concept in our spiritual well-being. But first, I want to I'm going to call on, because I feel some presences here that should not be here, and I'm going to seal them off. Beloved Archangel Michael, I call upon you and your angels now to seal this space around me and around everyone present here, to seal it in light and love and protection from all the forces that are not of the light and love, or in service to our highest good. As we join here in this circle together for the purposes of this edition of the Chrysalis today. And throughout this session, beloved Michael and your team, please keep these things from us, remove them into the vortex of divine source, take them up into the Father's light for divine recycling. So it is. Clear these things from me and my home. Thank you. And close the doors. They're allowing them in. Thank you. Okay, so now let's start at the top with world events. The biggest one that's making the news, at least in the US and probably the rest of the world too, happens to be with Turkey and Syria situation. And President Trump withdrawing us and our troops from that engagement area. The powers that be, the powers that want war, the powers of the military-industrial complex that are thinking about nothing but the money in their pockets, of which they have far too much already, that don't care about lives lost, that are all about fomenting and perpetuating hopeless causes. They are all up in arms because Trump did this. And they're making it sound like we withdraw the entire American army and forces from that area. Well, the reports that I have heard say that there were less than 50 American soldiers in that area that were taken out with their equipment, so that they were not in harm's way. So that, Turkey, who is a NATO ally, we can't fight against Turkey. We just can't do that. Are actually coming in to get rid of some bad Kurdish elements that happen to be aligned with ISIS type groups. And again, what's happening here? Release what no longer serves. It does not serve the highest good of anyone. For anyone to remain in this conflict. But we're getting out. We're saying, no, this does not serve our purposes or anybody else's. There's no reason for us to be here in this situation. We will do what we can to protect those who need protecting. But other than that, we're saying no. We're letting this go. No. And we have to watch this play out and trust that it is all playing out for the highest good and the light. All of this stuff is coming up for release. You know, there's also the big one across the pond from us is Brexit, and all of the brouhaha going on with that, all of the remainers and the leavers, and everybody just up in arms. And what's at the root of that? Power and money. Those are the things. Let's release all of that. Let's let go of all of that. Release what no longer serves us. Does it serve the highest good of the British country, the United Kingdom, to remain hobbled to the EU, especially with the upcoming changes that will go into effect here soon, that would have given the EU even more authority over the United Kingdom and the other countries that are aligned with and part of the EU at this time? I don't know. That's not my decision to make. But that's the decision that the Brits have to make. So there's that. And then we have the upheaval in France. We have gone, I'm trying to remember how many weeks, but I know it's almost a year. It's ridiculous. Every week, the Gilets jaunes are protesting EU policies and the lack of freedoms that are going on, and they're protesting in France. And no matter what has come against them, and there have been really strenuous and damaging forces come against them, they continue. Release what no longer serves. Release what binds us to density and darkness, to hold us down, that binds us to principles that don't serve us anymore. This is all part of the forgiveness umbrella. And then again, we have similar situations in Italy, South Africa, Israel, China, you name it. There's stuff going on all over the place. If you look, you can see it everywhere. The upheaval in Hong Kong, right? China, Hong Kong. Release. Let's let go of these bindings that keep us from being free beings. In the US, we have the impeachment process that the House, the Democratic portion of the House, is trying to ram through illegally. And there's all kinds of stuff. Every time they try one thing, it's like, boom, the light hits immediately and the truth comes out and the lies and their chicanery come out. And it's just almost instantaneous. And again, this is a process. Let's release what no longer serves us. Release what binds us to density and darkness. Every time there's a lie coming out, there is coming right up behind it is the truth that exposes it. So we are being, those who are still in that mental model and listening to all of this, one minute they're saying, oh no, look at this. And the next minute truth comes along right behind us. It's like, no, you did it again. So we're the breaking of the bonds and the bindings. This is what forgiveness is all about. Forgiveness. Well, let's start with this. When was the last time you were called to forgive anyone or anything that brought you love and light, assistance, success, goodness, prosperity, or any other positive thing in your life? Did you ever feel the need to forgive those things? Why do you think that is? We only are called to forgive the things that are not of the light, that bring us harm, or of a low density, low vibrational, dark, hurtful, harmful, painful. That's what we're called up to forgive, to release what no longer serves us, to release what binds us. So when we have those situations, what is it that binds us? We get fired from our job and we're angry about that. What is binding us to that anger? Is it our boss, our ex-boss? Is he the one saying, you got to be angry about this, so I'm going to keep you being angry? You have a spouse that leaves, and you're angry, sad, upset, torn apart, foundation of your life gone. Who's responsible for those feelings? Who binds you to those feelings? Is it your spouse? Is he standing there pulling your strings, saying, you have to feel this? And I know that you're angry at me, but you're going to keep feeling this. Is that who's pulling those strings? Is that who is binding you to maintain and sustain those emotions and those feelings? You have a family member who dies unexpectedly, totally bad situation, and you are consumed with grief and anger and not knowing what to do about it and all of that stuff. What is it that is binding that to you, keeping you from letting it go? What is it that's doing that? Is it the person you lost that's not there anymore? Is it God? Is it other people around you who are telling you you have to be angry and sad and full of grief? Sometimes it is. But why do you continue? Why do you hold on to this? Have you ever thought that maybe it's you who's holding on? Nothing else around you is affected by any of this, especially in a situation where you have a spouse that left. Has maintaining your anger at that person or somebody or a good friend who you felt betrayed you, has holding on to anger and pain and the sense of betrayal and this resistance to them and this sending them nasty stuff. Do you think that bothers them a bit once they've walked away? Who's suffering? You are. You are. So who's holding on to all of this stuff? You are. Why? The thing that most people don't understand about the dynamic here between people and situations is that as long as you are holding the person or situation responsible for your state of being, they have power over you. If we hold anyone or anything else responsible for our happiness, then that has power over us. We're giving away our power, saying, here, take it. You're responsible for me being happy. Make me happy. Sorry, peeps. It doesn't work that way. And y'all are far enough along the line on the spiritual path at this point to know that. But when we get buried in these places of, well, I'm not going to forgive that person because they did me wrong and I'm never going to forgive them, we forget that. We forget how that operates. whatever they did, another person did, they don't control our response unless we let them. Remember now, everybody and every situation that you are looking at throughout the world and your life is a mirror. It is a mirror of what's going on within. Absolutely and completely. Whether you realize it or not. And at best, our anger at a situation is a sense of anger at the other party or situation for bringing up these things in us that we really didn't want to look at and heal. So we have a spouse who walks out the door, says, bye, see ya, I'm done. And then we want to transfer all of our stuff to them. No, we can't do that. It doesn't work that way because we're still bound to it. We have to go through the process of looking at all of the things that are sponsoring the emotions that we're feeling and the thoughts that we're feeling. Where is that all coming from? Where is it all buried? If we were truly whole, if we were representing our true divine selves and our soul, we would be able to look at these things and say, okay, I understand where you're coming from. Safe journey. And I'll go off and do my thing for a while. Or something such. It wouldn't have the impact that we allow it to have on us. Most of the time we would feel sad. That's mostly a source of letting go of the connections, the energetic connections that we have. Disoriented, depressed, whatever. We can get that for a while. But we don't go into the external blame game. We understand that there's things going on with us that we need to address. A lot of people just don't get that. They want to stay in this state. And I can tell you right now, there are people out there who are listening to this who are saying there's no effing way that I want to stay in this state. It's miserable. I'm unhappy. I'm crying all the time. I'm angry. I don't want to be here. And I can understand that because I've been there, done that in earlier days. But the question I ask of you then is, if you don't want to be there, why do you stay there? What's holding you there? When we lose someone that we love, that's a very, very, very strong, wrenching tear away from our souls and our hearts. But what is it that is really going on that is causing this to continue? If you're in a situation like that, any of these situations where you have forgiveness and releasing issues, let me know. Come to me. I can help you identify the core issue that's coming up for you to be cleared, for you to be free of, for you to be unchained from in your life, to be free of, so that you can move forward as you were meant to be the light in the world that you're meant to be. So let's look at this then also from another perspective. And when my angelic team, my guardian team, showed this to me, it changed everything. I had a mother who was really damaged. And a lot of you can identify with that. And she did a lot of harm to me, a lot of psychological harm. She changed my life because of the harm that she did to me. And I have a couple of sisters who could not forgive her for that, who couldn't get past that. And they had to walk away from her, and they just never had anything to do with her again. I understood that. But I couldn't do that. That wasn't what I was made of. But I still allowed myself to be a victim of her stuff. So even after she died, I was still doing house cleaning of all of the things that her actions and her treatment of me and her behaviors had caused in my life, that brought me harm, that really screwed things up royally for me in a lot of ways. Not just while she was alive, but continued to do so after she was gone, because I still had this stuff here. I had the wounds, I had the false beliefs that were going on. And I sat down, I can't tell you how many times, and said, Mom, I forgive you for all that you did to me, blah, 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 long meditative sessions, and thought, okay, I'm done. I got forgiven. I'm done with that. And my team would bring up something else that came from her and say, nope, nope, you're not. So what did they show me that allowed me to finally break free? Well, they showed me, they reminded me that we came here, every one of us, with a plan. And I expect that every one of you who is watching this video understands that. People who are in a place where they say, oh, that's baloney, we're just born randomly and we live lives randomly. Everyone who is of that opinion is not watching this video. The rest of you have come to understand that we came here with a soul mission. So we have check boxes on a list that we came here to deal with during this particular incarnation, to move past, to free ourselves from, so we could elevate a little bit higher. Every time we elevate a little bit higher, up the step, up the step, up the step, so that we're not bogged down in all of these other woundings and things that happen that keep us chained down. So we know that there's a plan before we get here. Not only is there a plan, that plan just doesn't exist in one place. That plan involves everybody that's in our lives and all of the situations that we find ourselves in. That plan, you know, it's like a screenplay. It sets all of the parameters for our lives, what we're going to be guided toward, what we're going to be guided away from. It sets the actors in our play. And each one of these actors has a role to play to help us check off those check boxes. And as that awareness was on that basis then, because they're all here to do what we ask them to do from a soul level. We said, look, we need your help in this so that we can get past this, release this, that we're not stuck in that place anymore. We ask them to be here for us to help them. And a lot of times the thing that we ask them to help us with does kind of a lot of damage to their own souls. But that's where karma comes in too. You know, it frees up a lot of karma on the other side. So when we look at things from that perspective, anybody who has caused us to feel the levels of pain and anger and disruption and hurt, grief, depression, all of these things, everyone in every situation responsible for this didn't do anything wrong from that divine perspective. They were part of the play. They were the actors in the play. They were playing the part they were brought here to play in the beginning. That's what they were here to do. And you might find this a little bit hard to process, but it's true. When I finally saw that, my God, the light bulbs went off, and it was just like, wow. And I sat down finally in a deep meditation with my mother. And I literally released her from all responsibility for my pain and anger and hurts and wounds and all of it. I released her from that. I mean, really released her from that. And literally, I expressed my gratitude to her for coming down to serve me and my soul mission in the way that she had. Because she was one of those souls that was really wounded by her time here. Not just in what she did for me, but in what she experienced herself growing up. But I expressed that gratitude, and I could feel letting go. I literally said to her, I said, Mom, if they gave Oscars in heaven, you would receive one for Best Supporting Actress in my play. Because the things that she did and caused in my life and in me were major, major soul wounds carried through a number of lifetimes that I was able to address and release. And most importantly, I no longer held her responsible for them. I took responsibility for them myself. And once you take self-responsibility for these things, then you're able to say, oh, I need to let go of this stuff. You know, I took it on. I'm taking my power back. And now I want to release everything that I'm giving my power to within me that is binding me to darkness and density, holding me back, stuff that doesn't serve me any longer, that I need to let go of for my own peace and happiness, and to be free and to rise up, to not be a prisoner to the next person who comes along and triggers these same wounds. Not doing it. So think about that. What situation do you have going on where you say, that so-and-so betrayed me, I'm never going to forgive them? Because there is this belief about forgiveness that identifies it incorrectly. And our religious traditions have fostered that, because part of what our religious traditions are all about is maintaining power over us. God forbid that we would be self-empowered in the light through our religious trainings and teachings. Like that's going to happen. And yes, I'm sitting here and I'm wearing a cross. And I've got crosses in my home. But those crosses to me represent, and this fits in perfectly with this subject, represents personal crucifixion that we all have to go through in order to release the stuff that's crucifying us, that's coming against us, that we think is coming against us, but it's really ours. We go through that in some form. That crucifixion. We get nailed to the cross of our fears and our anger and our wounds and our density. And at some point, we just say, we break free. We become dead to these things. They no longer exist for us, okay? That's where we need to get to. That's what our goal is. These things are just, you know, like words on a screen or watching a TV show or a movie that we don't get attached to. We understand, we see the emotions, we experience them. We say, oh, that's nice, because that's what we're here for. We're here to experience this stuff. But we're not here to get buried in it or by it and held down by it. That's not what we're here for. We're here to have the experience of having these experiences, of having sadness and joy and grief and love and anger and happiness. We're here to experience those polarities, because those polarities don't exist at source level. And that's what this is all about. So I would ask you, and a really good book to read about this, that it is kind of a, not quite an idiot's guide to A Course in Miracles, but it is very much a simplification of the principles. And the book is called The Disappearance of the Universe. So if you want to read something interesting that will help you see things from a different perspective, I would recommend you reading that. And I'm getting a really big confirmation from my team that would help you with a lot of seeing how this operates and how this plays out in real life and why we're really here. And why there will not ever be a, you know, I think of duality as two as one. All right. I don't think of duality as a divisiveness, as in, although that still happens, but I think of it more as polarity. Two poles of the same magnet, two sides of the same coin. We came here to experience all of it, and we will continue to experience all of it until we return to source in one form or another. So anyway, that being said, when it comes to forgiving somebody, releasing stuff, if our first realization is that they or it did nothing wrong to us, that it was part of a process, part of a plan, part of a role that their soul came here to play for us for some reason, then our first act has to be releasing them of any responsibility for our feelings and our reactions. And to stop looking for a scapegoat and someone to blame. There's nobody to blame. What there is emotion and wounds from this lifetime, other lifetimes, ancestors, other people, other cultures, you name it, they come from all over. Again, I can help you identify these things, but I'm not going to do it here because that's not what I'm here for. First, remember and recognize that you are the one holding on to these things. You are the one binding this pain to yourself and giving away your power to other people that you are assigning responsibility for your pain. All you're doing is pushing them away and pushing everybody away who doesn't want to be associated with that vibration. I teach people when I have client sessions about using the vibrational relationship between people and situations to change that relationship and what goes on in that relationship, and to bring healing to a relationship. And that's very important to think about. Now we are going to get into, it's time now for us to move into the Heartlight Temple. And we're going to bring in the Angel Stamera, who is going to come in today, and she is going to bring us some healing related to forgiveness and release and letting go. What I'm getting is she is going to attune us to forgiveness and release, to help us see what's coming up to be released, what the real situation is. Help us to see what we need to release and be better able to move through that process. Sometimes we can't see what's there because the emotion is too strong. That may still be the case. But she's going to help attune you to the process of forgiveness, release, letting go of what no longer serves, so that you are less, so that your hold on these things is not as strong, so that you're more willing to see your own role in this and to go through the process, whatever needs to be done, of releasing it, to see the truth of the things that I've been telling you and more. You know, and she may be doing more when we get into the circle. You know, I never know for sure what the angels are going to bring, because they always bring more than I expect that they're going to. So hold on to your hats and remember that this is source energy. It's very strong and it's going to work through you at many levels, not only now, but beyond the end of this session. So let's go ahead and get into the temple, and we're going to place stronger protections here. Almighty and Most High, Father, Mother, God, divine source of all it is, and light of the great central sun, I welcome you once more to the Heartlight Temple of Angelic Healing, and thank you for your presence here with us, all who are here now and whoever will watch this video and receive the blessing of this healing and the angel's presence. I invoke the presence of the Heartlight Temple of Angelic Healing now, surrounding all of us in time and out of time. And I intend that this shall be maintained and sustained continuously throughout the remainder of this session until we are complete and end this recording. So be it, Heavenly Father, and so it is. Beloved Archangel Michael, there's somebody here with an open and inflamed causal chakra, portals, nodes, and attachment points. Please close them now. Disconnect them from everything that's coming through this portal. Close these portals, nodes, and attachment points, Michael, and weld them shut with your cobalt blue light laser. Removing everything that is in opposition to this or creating such, within and without. And I place on both sides of these portals, nodes, and attachment points, Michael, your beautiful blazing cobalt blue and white light signals of divine protection and presence. So be it, and so it is. Clear from this person everything that has come through this portal, Michael, and everything that is seeking to connect beyond this portal with the source of its discomfort, or its assumed source of its discomfort. Thank you. Beloved Archangel Michael, I call upon you and your band of mercy angels to surround this temple space and above and below, to shield, defend, and protect it from all intrusion, interference, and attachment that is not of the light or in service to it, is of entity, origin, intent, creation, design, or purpose, or in service to such, is other than in service to our highest good, or is other than in support of the purpose for which the temple has been invoked this day. Seal off and protect this temple space from without and from within, Michael, now and continuously throughout the presence of this temple here today. Okay. I ask Michael that you please perform the purification and protection protocols for everyone present in the temple in every moment of now in which they are present. And to clear from them and from this temple space anything that is discordant to or unaligned with the reasons and the purpose that I have invoked the temple this day. Clear all of these things. They have no authority in our domains, I declare it so, and they have no permission to be here, perceived, implied, or otherwise. I have just canceled it. And so it is. Please sterilize and purify this temple space, beloved ones, and maintain that purification throughout the remainder of this session. As Stamera comes in to do the work that she is coming here to do today. Thank you. And lastly, Michael, I ask you to remove from everyone here any entity interference or promotion of any forgiveness issues. That's something you have to remember, is that because these things are binding you to density and darkness, more often than not, there are negative entities and dark forces that are promoting your emotions and your feelings about this. So a lot of what you're feeling isn't really coming from you. It's being inserted and fostered and inflamed by forces of darkness. And there is some of that going on here today. And Michael's clearing those entities and their works. at all levels, dimensions, and planes of existence and causality, Michael. I revoke their permission to exist in these domains. Cancel their authority, perceived, implied, or otherwise. And I invoke my authority over them and cast them out. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, team. I now call upon the angels, archangels, ascended masters, beloved Jesus, Mother Mary, Holy Spirit, higher selves, guardians, and guides of all assembled here in the temple for this purpose. And I, holy, loving seraphim angels, I thank you, beloved ones, for your presence here with us now and for all the support that you bring to us this day in any way necessary for each of us to receive what we are meant to receive during this session in the temple. Beloved Archangel Zadkiel, come now and please clear everyone's connection to Divine Source and their clear receiving of everything coming through that connection in the physical plane. Thank you. Please maintain that clarity for all of us, beloved Zadkiel, and clear whatever is fostering this obstruction for each of us that is effective. Thank you. I now call upon beloved Angel Stamera, and I ask you to come into us, Stamera, to help all of us present here now, in every moment of now in which we are, and beyond, to help us to break free of the chains of unforgiveness, resentment, grief, rage, anger, guilt, loss, betrayal, and all of the other things for which we hold other people responsible and other situations responsible in unforgiveness. Thank you, beloved Stamera, for your presence here with us and for us this day. And I know that you have an agenda that you came here to complete in helping us to be attuned to forgiveness and release. And I ask you to come forward for all of us now and to bring to us your gifts and your healing. And so it is. Just breathe in gently and out naturally. Open yourselves to Stamera's work. Trust these angels, they are here for us. Some of us may actually feel afraid to let go of this rage and grief and anger. That's natural. Let it go. Open to Stamera's work, to divine light and love, filling all of these places that have been suffering. She's illuminating your souls now so that you can hear in some manner and recognize your soul's calling to be free of this so it can rise up, so it can bring you along with it, so it can complete your soul mission. Maybe you have an illness that you're dealing with. Cancer is a big one that has to do with unforgiveness, a biggie. So if you're dealing with something like that, open yourself up to Stamera's ministrations. So you are better able to release what's coming up to be cleared. Let go. Freed from you. Again, maybe these things aren't even things that you necessarily recognize in this timeline, but are kind of built-in issues that you have that have come from ancestors or other past lives. Cultural inputs, collective unconscious, morphic field, collective conscious of different groups and things, and tribal associations. Whatever it is, it's time for it no longer to be. Some of you have some very strong, deep issues. Issues that are wounding your soul, and your soul is crying to be healed. Open up to the possibility of that healing, to the possibility of being free, to the possibility of having love replace the lesser energies that are bogging you down. Are you done, Stamera? Thank you, dear one. All right, beloved team here present in the temple with us, do you have any messages for us to take with us as we complete this session? The Angel Remliel, who is the angel of awakening, is coming in. And what is your message you wish to impart? Beloved ones, you are now and have always been loved more than you can ever know by all of us in the divine planes, by your angels, by your guides, for all of us in the light who are here to help you rise up, to shed the chains that bind you, that bind your soul. You are amazing. We want you to know that. Inasmuch as we who work with you can recognize how terribly these lower vibrational energies afflict you and sometimes control you. And we are totally unfamiliar with how that would be for us because this doesn't exist in our world. We are constantly in awe of your perseverance, putting one step in front of the other, ever further going up the path and up the staircase. No matter how bad things seem for you, you keep going. We're in awe of that, and we celebrate you, and we celebrate what you have done so far. The victory that is upon us and upon you as a light worker or a starseed. One of the ones that has come here to bring light to the world by spreading your own light and healing your own wounds and releasing these things. This is a necessary part of your awakening and a joyful one. We are here, all of us, to help you in this release every step of the way. Call on us. Call on others to help you. All that you need to rise up is supplied for you always. Never think otherwise. You have, beloved ones, our utmost love, respect, and admiration for all that you have come here to accomplish, not just for yourselves, but for the entirety of humanity that has been imprisoned on this planet and kept in the dark. We salute you, dear ones. And so it is. Receive some great awakening energies from Remliel. Wow. Massive infusion of light to help break stuff loose. Thank you. So if any of you would like to share with me your experience of this, I would love you to share it in the comments. For anyone who is wanting some help to identify and release the emotional blockages and densities and energies that are holding and binding this to you, to identify where they're coming from, release them from you, and clear things out that will help you fully release the rest of it, to see it for what it is, to identify. I do this work all the time, and I'm really good at it. For any of you who wishes to just have a quick session with me to identify the core issue that is binding this stuff to you. And, you know, if you have a husband that walked out, you may think, well, that's the core issue. No, your response to their walking out is coming up to you from an issue that comes from somewhere else, whether it's your childhood, ancestors, past life, whatever it's from. It's coming from somewhere else. whatever your response is to the situation, it is coming from a place that is not really necessarily related to what the situation is. So if you would like help, contact me. If you just want me to do a scan and identify the core issue and you feel you have the ability to keep working on it yourself, contact me. I will give you a fee of $30 for this. And only those who are watching this video and have seen it will know about that. So contact me either in the comments or at the email address that is in the description for this video underneath. Thank you, beloved ones. Come now up into the light, into your physical selves, fully conscious. A couple of deep breaths and blow it out. Fully present in the physical and in your bodies. I love you all. I thank you for your presence here and for your assistance and support always. And I bless your journeys, and I bless the journey of humanity as we rise up together. Thank you, and good day.